What is going on, guys? It's me, Jesse, with Kings of Kong. Today, guys, we're going to be showing off my boy Zhongli here as a free-to-play build for a support, okay? I understand there's so many of y'all that are watching these videos, and they're like, well, Helmy's using Staff of Homa. I don't have Staff of Homa, so I can't get his 60k damage. Well, we're going to still get that 60k damage on a free-to-play build, or at least mostly free-to-play. I myself am mostly free-to-play. I spend money on, like, the Battle Pass, and that's it. And so I do understand, I've seen it before, but we're going to get you that 50, 60k that you've been wanting to hit with your Zhongli. That being said, let's go ahead and get started with this video. Okay, so to start off, we're going to look into his artifacts, okay? As a support build for Zhongli, you need to make sure you're using that Planet B fall. Like, you're maybe using Diluc or Zhao, and you're doing a bunch of damage, you're like, oh, he came up, he's got his ult, pop Zhongli's ult, go back into your main character and just start whooping some butt again, right? That's what this character works. So that being said, to get the most damage out of his ult, I have found that Archaic Petra and Noblesse Oblige, a 2P set of both, works the best. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the main stats. Obviously an HP Flower, an Attack Feather, and this is where stuff can get a little tricky. So I do recommend an Attack Sans. From what I have found in numbers and from what I have seen on multiple different videos, my friends' accounts, and everything else, attack percent seems to be the best. Now, however, if you are running Staff of Homa, I can't attest to this, I believe Staff of Homa would probably need an HP percent sans. But this attack percent, if you are wanting to do the most damage, this is probably the way to go. However, if you're still wanting to do a lot of damage, but make sure that shield is really, really good, then running HP on this is perfectly viable as well. So, that being said, you need Geo damage bonus for your Goblet, and for your final one, you need a crit damage circlet, okay? Or hat, or whatever you want to call it. So, or crit rate. Crit rate's also fine too, whichever one you need more of. So, when we look into this, we also need to make sure that we have the correct main stats, or substats. So your substats, in order probably, would be crit damage, crit rate, HP percent, / attack percent, because they kind of run in together, right? So, and then finally would probably be energy recharge. Now, this can kind of change depending on the type of stats you have, on the type of weapons you have. If your a crit rate's crazy high, but your crit damage is crazy low, like, obviously some of these things can be interchangeable and need to be fixed. Personally, I found that Zhongli needs a lot more energy recharge, and so I've been finding more pieces that give me more energy recharge, like this feather and this sans. But it's kind of whatever you see that you need for your Zhongli. That's just a good guide that I could give you. As you can see here, I recommend your crit rate being at least 60%. Yes, I'm still working on my Zhongli. There's still a lot of room for him to grow. But around 140 to 160% crit damage, okay? With this stats right here, I'm running at about 60k, I think, is my highest. Either 60 or 70k has been my highest damage, with my low end being only 30,000, which is still really good. My most consistent is about 50,000 to 40,000 a hit. So, also, as I've said before, the 1-to-1 ratio is what people prefer, or the 1-to-2 ratio, which is every, like, 2 crit damage, you need to have 1 crit rate. So if you have 140% crit damage, you need to have 70% crit rate, which I think that is a great thing, and yes, that's optimal. I found that to be extremely hard unless you have, like, all the time in the day and not have any characters, but I don't. So I still recommend at least 60% crit rate is probably the best for you to go for. And again, like I said before, for this character, about 140% crit damage. For your weapons. So, I told y'all this is a free-to-play build. It is still a free-to-play build. But we're going to talk about the Staff of Homa for a second. If you have Staff of Homa, obviously it's for the best. If you have the Skyward Pride or whatever, it's probably also better than most of these 4-stars. Same thing with the Primordial Jade Spear, so on and so forth, okay? Yes, I do recommend using those, and that's why I did bring them up slightly in the artifact section. That way you know what to build, okay? But let's go ahead and look at these 4-stars. So yes, I have Deathmatch on here. Deathmatch obviously is not a free-to-play weapon. However, it is $10 or $5 or whatever nonsense it is, right? But my reason of saying this is that most people, even if you are deemed free-to-play, have the deathmatch because people spent $10 on this game, because it's not like crazy busting out your pockets, okay? Deathmatch is a perfectly fine weapon, and probably the best one out of it just because of that extra crit rate and the ability Gladiator, okay? Now, if you are really free-to-play, but you have most of these 4-star weapons, go with the gotcha weapon, the Favonius Lance. The Favonius Lance with that extra energy recharge is really, really good. I obviously don't have it. I wish I did. But with that extra energy recharge really works well with Zhongli. And if you have none of these, then the white tassel and black tassel work really well and are not meant to be slept on. Please understand that. People have asked me about the halberd. I don't like the halberd. Yes, the halberd's a great weapon, not on Zhongli in my opinion. The reason why I mentioned white tassel is because of that extra crit rate substat, and the mention of black tassel is because of that HP substat, right? I don't think attack on attack is really necessary for Zhongli right now, unless, yeah, no, I just don't think it is. However, if you plan on kind of merging him later on into a DPS role, the Crescent Pike is a perfectly fine weapon. It's actually probably his best weapon, besides like Staff of Homa and these 5 stars. But Crescent Pike is probably one of the better weapons for him to run as a full DPS. And Dragon Spine Spear is a perfectly fine sub as well. Okay. Now that all being said, as you can see, mine's C0. You don't have to have these. They're not crucial. Your talents. Okay, so, again, let's talk about this. You're not going to be using your spear that often, right? You're going to be using, more than likely, these two your most, which is Dominus Lapidus. Man, I can screw that name up. Probably did. And Planet Beefall, right? So you're probably just coming in, popping ult, popping shield, going back to your main DPS, right? That's what you should be doing, okay? So these two need to be 6, right? I do recommend putting as much as you can to Planet Beefall first, and then putting stuff into Dominus Lapidus, but whichever one you feel like is necessary for you to put in, okay? And then your final and least important is your normal attack. Now this, if you are putting this as a DPS, this is probably your most important, with Planet Beefall being 2nd and Dominus Lapidus being 3rd, okay? So, finally, is his party setup. So, this is what's so great about having a Zhongli, is that he's literally good on any team. It doesn't matter what team you put him on, he's great on anything. However, I have found him personally being best with Zhao. Now, Zhao is a 5-star, yes, I understand, but because of the fact that Zhao has the ability to get killed so easily because his ultimate causes so much damage to him, you don't need to have extra damage being taken like onto your Zhao, right? And so Zhongli's shield works really, really well with Zhao. And so I do recommend it. It's also like, this is like a really, really good AoE team with a little bit of single target damage. So this works perfectly fine. Second, now don't run the Mona and Bennett, but actually Bennett's a fine, but I wouldn't run Mona. However, having a Geo team is really, really cool. This is something that I wanted to do, and one reason why I summoned for Albedo so hard is Ningguang and Zhongli go amazing together. But if you have Ningguang, Zhongli, and Albedo, oh my gosh, you have the freaking dream team, right? That team is freaking nuts. Definitely recommend it. But if you don't, something like Ningguang, Zhongli, a Bennett for the extra damage, and then coming in here and using like a Venti or something to just keep you a little bit protected, like a Beidou, where she just swirls around electricity all over the place, all are great ideas as well. And for the final one, and the one that I have my favorite team probably in this game, is Diluc with Zhongli. Mostly because Diluc is a lot of single target damage. Yes, I understand that his ult does a ton of damage in a large radius, but mostly he's going to be doing a lot of just like one person taking that dude out, right? But Zhongli is going to be able to get that area of effect as well. So you do have a nice blend, plus Diluc, just because of you're up in everybody's face, it is easy to die. So having Zhongli to kind of put up that shield is really nice to have. That being said, that is everything I have for this video. However, at the very end of this, you're going to see a little bit of like my character and his gameplay, and it will only be using nothing more than deathmatch with the same artifacts here, and the same everything. Okay, some are gonna have Bennett's ult, some aren't, so you can kind of get a good grasp. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I want to remind y'all to please subscribe. We try to upload videos at least every other to every day. And we want to see you here. Please let me know down below if you have any more questions. And remember, guys, we stream every Thursday at 7:30 Central and 8:30 Eastern. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please come back later. We love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and peace out.
9, 8, 7, ignition. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.